Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Alfirevic, and welcome back to another Knowledge Mondays episode. I'm thrilled to introduce our special guest, Susie Moon. She is a business connection specialist. Thank you, Susie, so much for being here today.
Oh, it's so great to be here, Dana. I appreciate you inviting me to this.
And this episode is a live episode, so I have some pre-made questions I'm going to be asking Susie, but also we prioritize audience questions. So if you have any questions you want to ask Susie about networking and sales, go ahead and leave them in the comment on our Facebook and our Instagram page, and we will make sure to ask her these questions. So the theme of today is gaining more sales through networking. So, Susie, I wanted to ask you, how do professionals actually increase their sales through networking versus just having these surface level conversations that go nowhere?
Yeah, I think there's such a stigma about old time networking. I don't want to say old time, but in the past, networking was all about exchanging business cards and it felt so salesy. And I think there's a bad rap to networking. And I think what people really need to do is start building relationships. You want to be in the rooms where you feel like you belong rather than being a victim of somebody's sales pitch. So finding the right room to be in and making sure that you agree with the vibe, that there's people that are in the room that have the same energy. There's so many things to look for. And it's not always about making sales or finding those prospects in the room. Sometimes you network to simply find the best referral partners. Sometimes it's to look for that person who knows that prince that was on the Hallmark Channel that you fell in love with and maybe will marry someday. You just don't know what you're going to find.
Yeah, got any, maybe the ladies out there looking, yeah, for that prince. So, you mentioned referral partners. I'd love to get a little deeper about that. And what if someone is kind of new to networking, new to their business, or even if they're an established business owner and they rely on referrals from past clients, but how would you suggest someone goes about building a referral network?
I I think it's a matter of thinking about who your target audience is and who else is targeting that audience. So if the two different you and this other person are going after the same audience, but in different ways, they complement one another. You can be great referral partners. Let's say small business owners is, female small business owners. I would want to target referral partners that are also serving those female small business owners in a different way. So perhaps it's a bookkeeper that only works with female business owners. Maybe it is a life coach that only works with female. So how can I partner up with somebody and get to know them in such a way where I know exactly who they help, how they help them, and I want to talk about them in the best way when they're not in the room. So that's what you want to focus on when you're looking for referral partners. Who is going to say good things about you, rave about you in the rooms you're not in?
That's those are some great answers. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's true. Like, who is going to talk about you and say great things, and like really someone who's going to advocate on your behalf. That's so important. And I think it's really important people will talk about you behind your back and not in like a gossipy way, in a good way. You want people to be talking about you. For an example, my networking group here in Charlotte, people I meet, I have a one-on-one with someone, and then like, oh, I talked with Mo and Larry and Jessica, and like, oh, they were talking about your event. I'm like, wow, people are talking about me and I'm not even there. They're doing the work of promoting me. So I think that's definitely the way to go, to have people talk about you.
Yeah. And just keeping those relationships fresh. So you think you need to nurture your prospects, and you do, but if you can nurture your referral partners just as much, I think it ends up being a bigger benefit because the referrals that you, the introductions that you get can be huge, especially when it's if you're a financial advisor. You know, it feels so salesy a lot of times when you're, looking to get a client for your financial advising practice. But if you can have somebody refer you, it just means so much more that the trust is there. Somebody advocating on your behalf. It's a deal breaker, or not a deal breaker. It's a deal winner. That's what I want to say.
That's so true. Especially like you mentioned, the synergy of folks working, who are already working with your ideal target audience. And if they're a trusted advisor, that referral is going to go so much longer than just, oh, like, hey, do you need life insurance? Because we've all gotten, the life insurance pitch before.
Oh, yes, we have. Yes. Even having a trusted mechanics, I would think mostly do their business through referrals rather than having to pitch people. You don't see a lot of mechanics advertising on Facebook. It's all word of mouth, and that's so important when you're owning a small business. Just to have those word of mouth referrals.
You mentioned something earlier about nurturing those referral partners. Can you possibly dive in more on ways to nurture those relationships and make sure it's mutually beneficial?
Yeah. And when I say nurture, it doesn't mean you have to send them a gift every so often. It's not about that. It's just being a good business friend, checking in every couple months, or even if you go to the same networking events, it's even better. But you want to learn about what they're doing in business. What are you offering right now? What are you, is there a promotion you're focusing on? Are you going to be exhibiting anywhere where I should tell the people that I run into? How can I talk about you in the best way? Can you provide a little blurb about what you're into right now and what you're focusing on so I can share it? I can email it. Make it easy to be referred. Put all the things in one place so that when I'm going to talk about you, I just have to click on one button or, send a link, and it's so easy. And I don't think a lot of people do that. They don't give the assets to their referral partners to say, this is me, this is what I'm looking for. And just even educating each other on what's changing in your business. What are you struggling with, even? Maybe they
Mhm.
have a recommendation. Oh, my bookkeeper would be great for what you're going through, and then you're just sharing information, you're sharing resources. Send them an article that you recently saw in a magazine, if anybody if they're reading regular magazines, or if you're listening to a podcast and it makes you think about them, send them a link to that podcast and just say, I thought of you when I heard this. You might be interested. And so you're top of mind in their brains all the time. And I think that's the best way to nurture in general. And that could be for prospects as well.
That was really good. And I love how you mentioned having the little blurb. So usually when I have a one-to-one with someone, I ask, can they send me an intro bio? And I send one about myself as well, because I'm more of a visual person, and I kind of want to control the narrative of what I do. Because some people think like, oh, networking coach, she teaches people how to network. I'm like, no, not really. I do so much more. So I want to kind of explain and make sure, because not everyone can understand what we do. And rightfully so, especially if they haven't spent a lot of time with us. And some people have very complex businesses. So I think that's so important having an intro bio.
Yep.
Very, yeah, definitely it's great to have. And you mentioned making it easy for others to refer you. I know having that intro bio is one way. What are some other ways it makes it easy for your clients or your referral partners or just like people in your network? Maybe they're not like a specific partner, but you're connected to them or even a friend. What makes it easy for you to be referred?
I usually have my phone with me. I'm going to be honest there. And when I'm out and about, if I'm at an event or if I see something on Facebook and I think of somebody, oh, this is perfect for this person, I want to tag them immediately. I want to forward it. I want to message it. So just knowing that I'm connected to them, knowing that I have easy access to just forward something, that I have their email. A lot of times, you could even use like a link tree, something that holds all of your links in one spot. I created one called Susie 360, and it has all my links. Everything you need to know about me, except my social security number, is pretty much on there. um, but it's a quick tool. If you think, oh, Susie 360, I can just send that to people. Maybe in your notes on your phone, you could even create just a note about each referral partner that you can go to, and you have a link to their website, their calendar. I mean, whatever is easiest for you to navigate. And that's something you might want to talk with your referral partners. How do you best communicate? Like, you don't want to send them to LinkedIn if they're never checking LinkedIn. Find out, do you prefer introductions through email? Do you want it on Instagram? Are you on Threads? Everybody is different. So, and maybe even texting. So figure out what works best for the people that you're kind of collaborating with, and, be flexible, I guess.
That's such an overlooked comment you just made about asking their communication preference because some people, will not respond to an email, but then others, they won't respond to text messages. And I think that's so important. Just checking in with them, that shows a level of care. And that's going to help you stand out. That's so overlooked. And also, it's important because if you're connecting a client with someone and like you add them on LinkedIn, but they never check it, it kind of looks bad in your client's eyes. So that's such an overlooked topic and something definitely we need to consider more of.
Yeah. Well, in general, when you're looking for prospects, where are they hanging out? Which platform are they on? That's a big thing to consider when you start targeting. If you don't want to do Facebook ads if nobody's on Facebook. So really, you got to go where people are, and just find the people that they're connected to. I think we're all just one person away from something amazing. So if we can just find that one person that will know somebody else, and ask. You can even ask your family when you first start, who do you know that might be interested in XYZ? And that's where it all begins. It's just you're one connection away.
Let me follow up with you on that. Let's say you have folks in your network, you go for that ask and they say, oh, I don't know anyone who would need this. I guess like how do you follow up with that or is that like a good connection or do you ask again like 6 months later?
I would check in with them, yeah, maybe 6 months later. I think it's more of asking how you can help them first. And once you help them, I think it will open up the door for them to think, oh, that's something I can help with too. Yes, you want to be top of mind. It may not be a good referral partner for you, and you could find someone else that fills that bucket. So you don't force anything. But I always believe that giving first is more important to show how you have information, you're resourceful, you know people. But again, I'm a connector and you are too. So not everybody thinks like us. So just be patient. And I think just giving them all the tools you can to make it easy to think about you. And maybe it's more of a gift this time. Like maybe they don't know how to introduce you to other people, but that's where maybe a gift could come in, or you sending a potential client their way. That's a huge act of service, when you can do that. And then you start the relationship, the going back and forth, referring. It's going to take a little bit for more people to trust others, so you just kind of have to gauge it and really just feel like what feels right. Do you feel like you belong with this person? Do they have that abundance mindset? Maybe they feel threatened by you. So you just want to find the people that are willing to do it, and they're looking at the big picture as well, because I think that's what it's all about.
This is so good. Wow. So I'm gonna pivot a little bit back to the sales. I
Yeah.
know, yeah, I love talking about referral partners, but I want to talk about sales. And what would you say are some common mistakes that business owners make when trying to get a sale during networking events?
I would say, well, it's the not credit card, the business card ambush, forcing somebody to take your business card. It just doesn't feel good to me. Um, I would say if you can ask somebody, would you like my card? I like to connect with people on the LinkedIn app on my phone when I'm at a networking event. So there's no cards exchange. It just doesn't feel transactional. But I think the business card ambush is what I call it. And just feeling like you're a target in the room. Nobody wants to, it's like going to a car dealership, and you're in the parking lot and you're like counting the seconds before somebody like comes up to you and asks you if you want to buy a car. Nobody wants to feel like that. So people are not giving first. They're thinking about who is in this room that is a future client. That's not the way to go into networking. It's building relationships. So stop with the surface level conversations. Find out about that person. Ask them something like, "Oh, I love your jewelry. Where did you get that? Or have you traveled anywhere recently? I love your tattoo. Tell me about it." Just things that are personal to them that they might light up as soon as they start talking about. That's where the magic is.
And that's so good that you mentioned light up. And yeah, I can tell you're very good at networking because you're observant and you look for kind of cues. Whether the person is enjoying the conversation or not. And yeah, so like I love I'm a cat mom. I love my cat so much. And yeah, anytime someone asks about cats, I get, all excited and happy, or my cat, she's the best cat ever. My opinion. But yeah, that's so important, kind of reading someone's body language and seeing, yeah, like what lights them up. Because some people maybe they want to talk more about business. They don't want to talk about, maybe they don't have cats. Maybe they're just like, yeah, trying to get to know you on a professional level. But some folks want to get to know you, or like, talk about ice cream or the best bars in Charlotte. So I think it's kind of reading their body language is so important.
Yeah. And when it comes to extroverts versus introverts, you can kind of tell based on where they are in the room. Introverts tend to stand at the walls, around the walls on the outside, where if you see a clump of people, chances are most of them are extroverts or they want to be in the, the craziness, the excitement. So if you are an introvert, go to the outside of the room and just go with one person, and talk to them and just, talk about whatever. You can start with the weather, of course. You can start, how long have you been coming to this event? How do you know people here? What I also like to do is talk to the host in advance. If I don't know anybody in the room, I'm going to reach out to the host and say, "Hey, who do you think a good connection for me would be?" And then you at least know somebody in the room when you get there. So there's little tips like that that seem to help and make it feel less awkward and less salesy. You just have to reframe your brain to think, I'm in it to build some new friends or new relationships. Anything can happen.
Talking about reaching out to the event host, that is one thing I actually tell my clients to always, yeah, either reach out in advance or just kind of briefly talk to them at the event because they're busy doing a lot of things. But just introducing yourself and, being connected with them and getting to know them because any type of event host, they're going to be a natural connector and everyone knows them. So I think that that's so important. Just like thanking them for hosting, for putting on the event, especially if it was free or even if it was paid, it's a lot of effort. And I think some folks think it's like, oh, you just, set up an event. Like there's a lot of work that goes in. And even offering, yeah, to help out, like packing up stuff, I think that's will go a long way. And also, yeah, the event host will know everyone. They're the connector. So I think that's such good advice.
Yeah. And even, yeah, volunteering, that's a great move. Could you even check people in and then you're learning people's names and then you feel more comfortable? You could even, go to the bathroom and look somebody up on LinkedIn and see if you're connected or did you meet them before? Do they know somebody in common with you? So there's so many ways to just kind of figure out what to do when you get there, I guess.
That's so true. So going back to more of the sales side, let's say
Mhm.
you're at a networking event and you deliver your elevator pitch and someone is kind of showing interest in your products or your service, where they could be like a direct client. Like, how do you kind of handle that from having a good conversation with the lead to actually, closing the deal and setting up that next meeting? In
Yeah.
making it clear that it's a discovery call or a business meeting, not just a one-to-one, without kind of being too aggressive or too pushy to scare them off.
Yeah, I think if they open the door, let them walk in and just be open, ask them as many questions as you can to really find out what their pain is or what they're looking for, what's their goal. Ask them what their biggest dream is. If you could do anything right now, what would you be doing? And just dig into their psyche, find out like what they're passionate about, what would perfection look like to them? What would a dream life? And lean into that. Um, you're almost tugging on their emotions, their heartstrings a little, when you talk, but you don't have to feel salesy. I would invite them to a conversation to talk about pricing if you want, if they're interested. I would also add some case studies. Like, this is what I've done with a couple of my clients. Give them examples so that they can feel like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. And just, keep it at a conversation, but really dive into what is driving them to ask you about what you do.
That's good. That's excellent advice. So, how do you get folks like interested? Like when you say what you do you have any advice on getting folks interested in you and your services and learning more? Even though, yeah, yeah, the goal is, we network to get clients or build relationships, but like, how can you structure your elevator pitch in a way where people come to you wanting to learn more?
I would really focus on making it simple. You don't want to hear something that they memorized and it sounds like they're reading from a card. You want to make it sound natural, but yet intriguing so that you're kind of leaving them with wanting more. I would say that I haven't even, perfected this trait because I think every time I say it, it changes, depending on who's in the room. So lead with how you're helping people in the end. I help people get more visibility so they can make more money and have more free time, or something to that effect. Ooh, I want to know how to make more money and have more free time. Yeah, tell me more. So you don't want to just say how you do things. I've researched speaking opportunities for people. That's not sexy.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I want somebody to do that for me, but that doesn't make me want to work with you. So, you have to bring the energy that you want to portray, and be real, be authentic, be yourself. If you're funny or if you want to add humor, do that. So just give them a little bit of personality so they remember you and it's just not, what do you call the words? Like just terminology, like phrases that, only somebody in the industry would understand. Make it, like a fifth grader would it be explaining what you do. Make it simple and make it memorable.
That's really important, especially making it simple because I used to say I'm a client acquisition and visibility expert. And then I had a sales coach I was working with, and he was like, well, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, well, it's a fancy word of networking coach. And then I said, now I'm a networking coach, but then now I say I'm a networking and prospecting coach. And then because sometimes networking, it doesn't really give them it doesn't, yeah, make them interested, or I'm a networking and referral coach. So I think that's a great point. We're always trying to figure it out and kind of see what resonates with others. Sometimes I like to lead with, I have a networking group in Charlotte because a lot of folks are, if you're at a networking event, you're probably interested in attending other networking events.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And lead with what they know. What are they use the language that they would be using if you can. Um, yeah, it's hard and it takes a little practice. But I think if you know what event you're going to and you kind of have an idea of what types of people will be there, you can change your pitch based on that. If you're going to a chamber event, you're going to have a variety of businesses, where if you go to just a women's only event, you can lead with more intuition and more heart-driven things rather than being as technical as you might be before. So everything is a little bit different. But we're small business owners and we have the flexibility to kind of wing it and do what we want to do.
I love women only events, and depending yeah, on the event, but sometimes it's just like a different atmosphere. It just feels so welcoming to me, and just like, your feminine energy can be
Yes.
girly and, fun. And yeah, I'm actually pretty funny. I have more of a sarcastic sense of humor, but yeah, I love I honestly want to do like stand-up comedy because I have a really good sense of humor, but do that maybe another time. But or
I
maybe
love
we'll
that.
do another live, yeah, me doing stand-up comedy. But
Please. Yeah.
yeah, I'll invite you. But no, that's just, yeah, interesting about, yeah, the different types of events and how you can kind of structure it. You can kind of, I think you can kind of tell, like, just based on someone, like how they're, how they talk, what they are wearing, kind of, maybe their age or gender. You can kind of structure your elevator pitch or even just the conversation based on their mannerisms and body language. Like if you make a joke and they're laughing with you, they kind of open up more personal. But if like you make a joke and they're just like seem, offended or something, maybe just stick to, corporate, down to, facts only, technical.
Oh, you're speaking my language. A lot of times, like somebody swears first, then I know the door is open, like to use a word that
Yeah.
might not be used in a normal networking event. So, yeah, you have to adjust your humor, sense of humor sometimes, depending on the room you're in. And it's all about reading the room, reading the people. Um, and I know we're tailoring it to the people we are talking to, but remember, that one person away, the person that you're explaining something to, you want them to be able to explain it to the plus one that we need to get to. So that Prince, I want him to understand that I really like going to gas stations and hanging out in the parking lot. I'm just joking, but it's you want to be like as neutral as possible in a way that they can explain it to make it easy.
Yeah, that's what I love to do. Hang out, in the parking lot at gas stations.
Well, we have gas stations here in Wisconsin that I would gladly hang out in the parking lot because they're so cool. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, interesting. So, tell me about one networking secret you learned throughout the years that you wish you knew when you first started networking.
I never went into a networking event with a goal. I think it's always nice to just have an idea of what you want out of it so that you can kind of be directed and you have a mission when you're there. Whether it's I just want to collect one business card or I really want to have a good conversation with somebody or I want to, meet five people and, so having something in mind when you go there, and then you kind of track yourself after, like, did I accomplish my goal? What could I do better next time? What would I change? And so you're just constantly improving each time you network. And I think that's important. We're all learning along the way. And nobody is a perfect networker, no matter what. You can have a lot of fun, and it can also be miserable depending on the situation you're in. Um, so, yeah, having a goal, that's what I've learned.
That's so important. Also, yeah, you mentioned like being miserable. To another point earlier, you mentioned like finding like your vibe and finding the right group. I think that's so important. Can you touch on a little bit more about how to find the right group for you? Should it have your ideal referral partners, or is it more people who kind of, have your sense of humor or combination?
For me, it's my sense of humor for sure. When if people are offended by any joke that I make, it's not the room that I belong in. And you can kind of test a few things. I probably wouldn't do well with a group of nuns or priests either, but or people in three-piece suits. That's not my room. I come in jeans and a sweatshirt and sneakers. You have to be yourself. And so if you're not feeling like you can be yourself in that room where you are accepted no matter what, if you have purple hair and you go to a very conservative, three-piece suit type event, maybe you're not going to have the best vibes. I don't know. But so you just kind of have to, give it a chance. You never know what you're going to see, who you're going to see, and what the vibe will be. And that's where asking the host in advance might be helpful. Do you think it's appropriate? Is there, you can ask if there's a dress code. If you're going to a country club, are you able to wear sneakers and a sweatshirt, or do you have to have a collared shirt? There's a lot of rules sometimes. So just making sure that you're prepared and you can fit in, just being ready for what's ahead, I think is important.
Great. Well, Susie, thank you so much. I really loved this conversation. If folks want to learn more about you and your fantastic sense of humor, where could they find you?
They can find me at susie360.com. That's the easiest way. I love it. And thank you so much, Dana. This was great.
Thank you. And that's great branding. It's right there, Susie 360 on the screen.
Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I'll just check. I don't think we had any community questions. Yes, I don't think we did, but thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you soon. Bye.